Y'all, I'm not even gonna lie, it's getting pretty scary out there and I'm getting frustrated. I know a lot of my videos, I am sharing tips and tricks and I am going to be sharing some things that I'm doing right now, but I wanna be fully transparent with you and tell you some of my concerns. Let me know what your concerns are and what you guys are worried about, or if none of this is impacting you and you are just sailing right along, let me know what you're doing as well. So it's getting harder and harder, right? And so a couple of things that are concerning to me that make me just kind of wonder, is this even really worth it anymore, is the climate's getting harder. We're moving into a recession. People have less money. Now, long term, you have to any retailer, you have to weather the storm, right? And so I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I'm doing to kind of weather this storm and make sure that I get it out on the other side. But the other thing that concerns me is the increase and the projected increase in e-commerce, sustainable fashion, or any sustainable retail it's increasing, which is great for us, right? Like it was, I think last year I read it was at a 23% increase, where regular retail was like around 10%, maybe lower. It was at least double what regular retail is seeing as an increase, which you're thinking, hey, this is great. People want sustainable. People want to buy pre-owned. People want to buy cheaper. We're going into a recession. I agree with all of that. However, the downside of most of that is two things. One, because there's such an increase, you have a lot of other resellers getting into it. The amount of sellers is getting higher and higher and higher. And then the second thing that you're seeing is retailers getting into it, right? You have these big retailers who are like, I want a piece of that pie. If people are going to stop buying brand new from me, what can I be doing to get a piece of this 23% pie? And those big retailers, their pockets are significantly deeper than our pockets are. And two things that I'm seeing happen with these retailers is, one, they are making their own programs. Tell me how many, and I'm talking women's fashion, so let me know if you guys sell in other categories, what is kind of looking like in this climate for you. But if you sell in other categories or in women's fashion, you're seeing so many retailers that are putting together their own resale programs, right? They are buying back their inventory and then they're reselling it, right? Which is going to put us out of the, like, that's what we do. And if the retailer is doing it, why would you not sell back your Lululemon to Lululemon and get a credit to buy more Lululemon than donating it and putting it and buying stuff on eBay, especially in categories that have fakes, right? If you buy from Lululemon, it's not going to be a fake. You don't have to worry about authenticating it, right? You're buying it from Lululemon and you can go directly to their site. The other thing that this is impacting is now people are selling it back to these companies. They're not donating it as much anymore. It's harder for us to source. The thrift stores around me are getting higher price because they are noticing that people are buying more sustainable products, right? So it's not just resellers that are coming. A lot of people are like, hey, I want to buy used, this younger generation, they're wanting to, the sustainable pre-owned secondary is increasing, but these are all the impacts. And while it should be good for us, there is secondary impacts that are coming down the line that is actually making it hard for us. And one of my biggest concerns, friends, and this is not my area of expertise at all, I'm working really hard on getting someone whose area, like a lawyer whose area of expertise this is, onto my live on Fridays with Anna. So make sure to subscribe because I'm going to do it. What I'm talking about is the legislation that they're trying to do right now. Retailers are out there trying to pass legislation saying that we cannot sell their brands, right? So if you are, and I'm just picking a name. I'm not going to pick a name because I don't want to put a name on it. It's not just one retailer that's doing it, but there are retailers out there that's saying, hey, the only person that can sell my brand is me. Now, recently, there was legislation. It did not pass. However, they are going to continue to do it until it passes. I am certain about that because their pockets are deeper. Now, currently, I know, and this is what I'm working on with eBay to get someone on my channel to come talk to us about this and the concerns with it and what they're doing. But eBay does have a government relations team that is part of eBay, and then they get a lot of sellers that come out and volunteer their time to help with this. And I met a couple of them for eBay Open. Like I said, I'm trying to get a couple of them on the channel so that we can really get in depth into this. But the current legislation that was going, eBay worked really hard. They go out on our behalf. So if you're like, oh, I don't like paying the fees, that's part of what our fees are paying for. They are in Washington doing the hard work to make sure that we can sustain our businesses as resellers. It didn't pass this year, but I would not be, and I'm not talking the next 6 months, I'm talking like maybe 5 or 10 years, where big retailers who have deep pockets are going to lobby until they get it to where they are capitalizing on this and they are making money out of it, which ultimately is going to put small resellers out. Now, that was my rant. It's not necessarily negative, but I want you guys to be, it is negative. And it gets frustrating for me and very scary, to be completely honest. But I don't want you to think that I just live in this world of everything is happy-go-lucky and sales are, these are some true concerns of mine and things that I am doing right now. I'm always keeping an eye on it and ready to pivot. Things that I'm doing right now during this time, during the recession. We're not in a recession yet, but as we kind of head in there, or like are teetering on it, the economy, you know, doing what it's doing. During these times, I am watching my numbers. This is probably not news to most of you that follow my channel, but the margins are getting slimmer and slimmer. And what I mean by this is your margins is the money that you make, right? You sell an item for $10, you take out shipping, you take out fees, you take out your cost of goods, you know, now you're at $5, right? After you take all of that, you're at a 50% margin. That's getting slimmer and slimmer. And here's the reason. Your top number, the higher your cost of goods gets, the higher your shipping gets, the higher your cost of goods, your shipping, your fees get, the lower your net is. And let me show you a visualization of this. This is the platinum formula for resellers. This is the spreadsheet that you guys can download it as well. And then it also comes with a listing template that I'm doing a listing challenge for you. I will link a video up here of how to use this. But the platinum formula for resellers, these are all the variables that go into how much money we make. So the golden formula tells us all of the variables that go into how much money we gross. That is your very top number. But then when we start talking about margins, we're looking at the platinum formula. So things that go into your margin right here down at the bottom, you have your gross. That's how much an item sells for. But then once you take out your cost of goods, once you take out your fees, and once you take out your shipping costs, you're going to see your margin. That's how much money you take home before taxes, and then you get into all of that information. But this is your net margin. Here's the problem, right? So let's just say whatever analysis this was I was doing last, these are not my numbers. I do not have a $200 ASP. I was doing another video. But anyway, so let's say that the thrift stores prices are getting higher, right? So my cost of goods goes from $5 to $8, right? You're saying, oh, it's $3. Now look at what happens. You come down here, and when I hit enter, we're going to look at the margin. My margin now goes down. Yes, it's only 1%, but 1%. And then let's say our fees. Right now, I'm having to promote significantly higher on Poshmark or on eBay. And the reason for this is, like I said earlier in the video, there's more sellers. My competition is getting steeper and steeper and steeper. And the only way that I am able to maintain my level of gross is by promoting my items higher. So let's say my fees went from we'll say they were 24% for the sake of this, because that's where it was at. But let's say my fees go up to 30% because I'm having to promote just like outrageously to even make any sales. That now my margin's gone down 6%. Now my margin is lower by 6%. Shipping, this goes back and forth. I don't see a huge increase in shipping costs. Every year it kind of goes up a little bit, but you can see that these margins are getting slimmer and slimmer, and they're impacting our bottom line. And at the end of the day, if we're not making money, it's getting really hard. If these margins get too slim, it's going to be hard. So what I'm doing to make sure is watching these numbers and being mindful of my cost of goods, trying to find ways to lower my cost of goods or keep them the same with also keeping my gross the same, as well as trying to figure out ways to still make the amount of sales without having to spend so much money on fees. I have not figured it out yet. I will link a video up here of a strategy that I'm currently trying out, and I'll share these with you as I go through and do them. But watching our numbers and being able to pivot. And the next thing is pay attention, friends. Pay attention to what's happening in legislation. Pay attention to the new features. Pay attention to economic news. Be ready to pivot. That is the one advantage that we have over some of these big retailers, is we can pivot. I can pick a new strategy, and within a month, it can be fully implemented. Big retailers cannot do this. This is what saved us during COVID, I believe, because I could start sourcing differently, and within a month it was happening. I could start shipping differently, and in a month it was happening. Big retailers, they plan months, years in advance, and when something like that happens, it is significantly harder for them to pivot. So if you're paying attention, you're going to be able to pivot. My saving grace here, friends, is that we just make it through these hard times and do whatever we can to make it through. And I will see you on the other side. Hopefully y'all make it through as well. Let me know what your guys' concerns are as well, and things that you are doing to kind of make it through these hard times. If you liked this video, YouTube also thinks you'd like this video. I will link a playlist here of how to make money reselling. Join my memberships to support content like this. You guys can subscribe here as well.